Good morning. It's March 23rd. This is my left ear. It's my 30th video. Can hardly believe it. Welcome to My Left Ear. My name is Carrie Freeman, and it's called My Left Ear because that's how I receive information. And I also do some rune readings as well to back it up. I do psychic commentary on this channel, and it's left-leaning, so if you're right-leaning, you probably won't like it. I've had a few stop by and they didn't like it. And it is for entertainment purposes only. That's always important to say. I like to call myself a change agent because what I do is help people change, and I do that through psychic coaching, and I can email that to you, a description of that, at carriesleftear@gmail.com. And I have been a clinical hypnotherapist for about 18-20 years. I can't even count anymore. So we're going to start. We're going to get right into it. I now like to start with a deep breath. So join me. You know, I named this video Insanity Alert because that's what it feels like right now. We've had 2 shootings in 1 week. I don't need to tell you that. 8 people in Georgia, 6 of whom were Asian, and 10 people in Colorado, including an officer in a grocery store. It's so unbelievable. And I'll have more to say a little bit about the Republicans and this. But I did post to my community this morning, Robert Reich, who's extremely visible, author of, former, he was in the Clinton administration, and so he wrote this morning, and I do not know him, wouldn't it be nice if pro-lifers focused on ending gun violence or suicide prevention, or abolishing the death penalty, or stopping police killings, or fighting poverty, or combating the opioid epidemic, or ending wars? Wouldn't it be nice? So that's resonating with other people too, for some reason. Wouldn't it be nice? We just right now wait and we pray, and I'm going to talk about guns in a few minutes and legislation. I want to, my left ear wants to say something about Joe Biden because of what's going on at the border. There's a crisis at the border, there's a nightmare at the border, and it reminds me of something I said a long time ago. I did come on this channel and say to everybody, Joe Biden will disappoint, and that's because every president disappoints, no matter how good. Every president disappoints. So there is no perfect. It's part of the job. So the crisis at the border, of course we know. Of course we know. It's part of the mess that the former guy left us. And it's a result of natural disasters all over the world, the pandemic. So when Biden got elected, of course, he focused on COVID and financial relief for citizens. And honestly, it appears that his administration did not anticipate how bad the surge would be at the border. Probably Joe Biden would be good to have a chat with Barack Obama, because Barack Obama had a 50% reduction on border crossings for those 8 years. And Joe should maybe have a conversation with him. That's all I'm saying. Now, the Republicans, the pubs, as I like to call them, are using this to attack Joe Biden. They're frothing. They're like in a feeding frenzy. Because he just did something great with the vaccinations and with the relief package. And so they had to find something, and they are finding something. And this Now, also, it's not the Republicans, mainstream media, because they need something to report. They thrive on conflict. They're also saying the same, oh, this could be a disaster for Joe Biden. Oh, this could be bad for 2022. I want to just say, be a little careful about listening to all that. It's just a wave, and the media really is part of it. I watch them, I like some of them, but they're a part of it. Now I'm going to go on. And by the way, there is an inference out there that Joe Biden isn't doing anything. But don't kid yourself. This man is a doer, and he's a humanitarian. He is not ignoring this. We may not hear about everything he's doing, but they know, Ronald Klain knows, this is very dire, this is serious, and they are scrambling, and I want to give them a chance to scramble. All right, now, on to COVID. I don't want to alarm, and this is for entertainment purposes only, but I do believe we're going to see another wave. And I felt that before the partying in Florida, and I just felt it a couple of weeks ago. There's going to be another wave. It won't be as bad. It is due to some recklessness. It's due to some new strains, and it is due to some Republican governors. We will probably need booster shots. Personally, I don't mind if I have to go get a booster shot. I'm fully vaccinated now. It feels really good. And by the way, let me just say this. I believe in these vaccinations. I had my second one a little over a week ago, Moderna. I was using an M. It's not an M, it's Moderna. And I got very sick after my second injection. But I want to say, I know not everybody does. Not everybody does. So please don't take this as an inference that you're going to get really sick. But I really did for 3 good days. And then I had intermittent things for 2 more weeks, which is I had incredible chills. And I had the weirdest symptom. I had extreme itching inside my ear. Itching. And I was like, did I leave some soap in there? And then I talked to a friend of mine, Marianne. And by the way, Marianne bought this pretty top for me and these earrings in Truckee, California a couple of years ago. Really good friend. But she said her husband and she had the same thing, the itching. So that was part of it. But I'm fine now and I have no regrets and I'm not complaining. I'm so grateful. But that was my experience, and I would do it all over again. But we may need some booster shots. Last week, my left ear kept bugging me, kept telling me, Kamala Harris is in danger. And I was like, what? She's got the best security. What? Why am I getting that? I didn't know what it was. And then, of course, the next day, they found a sniper near her home, or one of her homes. I think she has 2. I'm not sure. He was having a psychotic episode, evidently, and she is fine. But my left ear was nagging at me. It really was. I didn't know what to do with it. So on we go. My left ear wants you to know that Joe Biden is fine. It's normal for someone 77, 78 to trip. And by the way, I'm nowhere near this. And I've tripped, I've fallen downstairs. I'm fine. My brain is fine. It happens. But intuitively, my left ear, he's okay. He was moving too fast. He's just that kind of guy. And he might be wanting to prove how spry he is. That's what people are suggesting. I don't know. I think it's his style. But at any rate, on a humorous note, that evening that he tripped, and it was like, oh my God, Biden tripped, and John Jr. came, Donald Jr. came out and went at it like he has a right. But I could hear Jill Biden in their private quarters giving her husband a what for. What were you thinking, Joe? I've told you, you've got to slow down. I could literally hear her, as only a wife can do. So All right, now we get into this really, I don't even know if I know the word, it is so crucial, the H.R. 1 bill, which is all about voting suppression and voting rights. It's really not an exaggeration to say that if this bill doesn't go through, our whole democracy is in a lot of trouble. And I'm so sorry. Other people are saying it. It's not just me. It is true. However, I think we're going to push it through. I do. And I think it will pass by a whisker. And then Mitch McConnell may pass out. He may have vapors and just pass out on the floor of the Senate. And I can't think of anybody that would give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And it's okay if you want to laugh. Here's some facts, okay? I just want to share this with you because I heard Dowd, I can't think of his first name, Dowd, you know who I mean. He said in the last 50 years, including Texas, out of 3 billion votes, there have only been 1,500 proven instances of voter fraud in the United States. That's 1,500 out of 3 billion the last 50 years. In the same 50 years, 1.5 million people have died from guns. However, the Republicans and the Texans would rather put restrictions on voters' rights than guns. In the future, and I think it's going to happen faster than some of the Matthew Dowd. I think it's going to happen faster than some of the experts are predicting. Texas is going to go blue. They can thank Ted Cruz for that, and the governor, and Ron Johnson, and the idiots. But Texas is going to go blue. And then that's going to affect the electorate, the House, the Senate. This is our prediction. And now, let me just say something about Russia and the Republicans. They're having a bromance. And evidently, they've been in bed the whole time. If you remember, I think it was 2018, 8 senators and 6 senators and 2 congressmen, I might be a little bit off there, went to Russia on the 4th of July. On the biggest American holiday, they went to Russia. And they claimed they were going to meet about voting and the elections. I believe they made deals to take money. I believe they went home with rubles in their pocket, and some of them are still on the payroll. My left ear agrees with me. All right, so I'm just mentioning this. There's this new love affair between Putin and the extreme right and the seditionists and Fox News. And, I was watching the interview when George Stephanopoulos asked Joe Biden, do you think Putin is a killer? And Joe took a moment, kind of sat back for a minute, and he went, I think he is. That's all he said. Well, then all the media came out and went, Joe Biden called Putin a killer. Well, he actually never said the word killer. George Stephanopoulos said killer. But Putin jumped on it, and he acted outraged, and he was theatrical, and it was for show. No debate will ever happen. We don't even think Putin was serious. It was just show and bravado. But then Fox News picked up on it and were like, yeah, they need to debate. So all these people that are somehow in love with Putin, they should have, some arsenic on the rocks with him someday. That's what I think. There's no debate coming. Now, the pubs are not talking about the former guy's dementia or physical problems because they want to fundraise. They want to make money. And Trump wants to make money, and he wants to maybe give the appearance he's going to run because he'll do anything to avoid prison. So the pubs are saying that, he's healthy. And then after Joe Biden tripped, this horrible new congressman, Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who used to lie about the former guy's physical condition. He lied about his weight. He lied about his height. He lied about all kinds of things. Like, he's perfect. He's a perfect specimen. Well, he's a friend of Trump. So he came out with a really nasty thing about keep an eye on Biden. He's falling apart. It was really dramatic. And so then everybody on Twitter piled on to Ronnie Jackson, including yours truly. And I said, oh, you mean the drunk doctor? Because he's famous for being a drunk, being a harasser, being having anger management problems, and taking pills. That's Dr. Ronnie Jackson. So I know, the left ear knows, the former guy, because I don't want to say his name anymore, called his friend Ronnie Jackson and said, I want you to do this tweet for me. And Ronnie did it. So the former guy has minions doing tweets for him, by the way. Now, Christopher Wray, head of the FBI, my left ear, he's got to go. He should go. He needs to be let go. We really can't keep him. He just caved to the former guy's administration, and they didn't really investigate Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court, which now it's going to happen. Kavanaugh's going to get investigated, and he's probably going to get nailed on impeached on lying to Congress. And so Kava will be replaced at some point. And maybe the new lady, the prim lady, the lady with 90 children, she is probably going to, because dark money was underneath these two. All right, January 6th, the horrible riots, the deaths. Well, 60 Minutes last Sunday had a man named Michael Sherwin, and Michael Sherwin is gone now. I think he's in Florida in a new job. But he was a temporary DOJ attorney under Billy Barr, hired by the former guy. Well, he was on 60 Minutes for some reason with Scott Pelley. And he talked about attending the sedition riot in jogging clothes. And he made a really big deal about what he was wearing. And he said he just wanted to observe. Now, for a few days, people were wondering, did he get clearance for this interview? Where did this interview? He's leaving. And now he's saying, yeah, I think, there's going to, Trump and some people are going to be indicted. I think there's a really good chance. And immediately we started investigating, and there's people that are legislators that are being investigated. But Scott Pelley never asked him, why are you doing this interview? My air conditioning just went on. I forgot to turn it off, so I apologize. I'll speak up. Well, some people now think that this Michael Sherwin did this to cover his butt for being at the riots, that if he came out and said, I was there and I was in jogging clothes and I was observing, that he's fine. So I tend to think that is the case. But he did affirm that January 6th investigations are pervasive and they're ongoing. He expects indictments, including the former guy. So we will see. In terms of the former guy's culpability or indictments, he's going to get a lot of them. However, my left ear thinks it probably won't be January 6th that takes him down, or the sexual assault and rape allegations, and many, many other things. It's going to be, we think, it's going to be his finances. Financial fraud will be the key. And then for a long time now, I haven't really seen him going to prison, and I know that's disappointing to a lot of people, but he's going to suffer. So the former guy, he's going to have massive seizure of properties. it's going to be a ruination. I think other family members are probably going to see prison. It's probably, I'm just saying this, it's not my opinion, but it's probably a huge hurdle to send an ex-president to prison. This is what I'm guessing, okay? And you know what? Here's a metaphor. The former guy is like his private jet. His private jet is parked at the end of some runway. One engine is dead, and the other engine is wrapped in plastic. And that is a metaphor for the former guy. And we're wrapping up here. Filibuster. Filibuster. We probably won't push through H.R. 1 unless we crush the filibuster. And this is the popular opinion, of course, on the left. Biden has been hesitant. He was in the Senate. I think he likes tradition. He'd like to get things done without crushing, but he's getting a lot of pressure. And there is also an article in Vanity Fair. In terms of Mitch McConnell, he gave this big speech about if this filibuster goes, you wait, there's going to be scorched earth. Oh, it was very threatening. It was very, like he's going to live forever, right? Which he's not. The filibuster will end, or it will be retooled, but I think it's going to end. It's going to be very tense because it's so important. And I don't think that Mitch McConnell is going to see out the end of his term, by the way. I think he might be gone by the end of 21. My left ear, my left ear. Sometimes I say I, but it's always my left ear or me because I'm agreeing with it. And here's like happy news. Happy news. Major Biden is out of the doghouse. Major Biden's okay. Major Biden nipped at a security guard, evidently. We don't know the circumstances, but there wasn't even any broken skin. And Major's still a puppy. About 4 or 5 years ago, I went to pet my girlfriend's terrier, and I think I went in at the wrong angle, and the terrier went insane and got a hold of my forearm, like this whole part of my arm, and shredded it. I'm not kidding. I have pictures. Shredded my arm. Went down to the bone on my finger. I went into shock. I passed out. It was very painful. I went and got a shot, and I got all the wounds clean. And my friend who owned the dog was horrified. She wanted to pay for my medical. It wasn't necessary. She brought me lunch. But I did not report the dog because she said, I'm going to keep him in the kitchen. I'm not going to let him. I couldn't be responsible for putting down a dog that had never done that before. So they moved, actually, not because of the bite, but they had to move to kind of a quiet part of Southern California where they really don't have a lot of visitors. My friend is recovering from a stroke, and Teddy has not had an incident, and I'm so glad that I didn't do anything about that. So this was nothing what Major Biden did, but I'm so glad Major Biden was. I love those German Shepherds. It's kind of a packed show today. Here's a quote, and I'm going to tell you who said this after I read it. It's not new. Let's take the gauntlet and make goodness attractive in this so-called next millennium. That's the real job that we have. I'm not talking about Pollyanna-ish stuff. I'm talking about down-to-earth, actual goodness. People caring for each other in a myriad of ways. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers, yeah. And then the other quote just made me laugh. It's brand new. I heard it said on an interview. I think it was James Carville, and I think it was Ari Melber. And they were talking about Mitch McConnell's scorched earth threats and speech. And James Carville, you know, with that Southern accent and his hat, and just love the guy. He's so smart. He said, "Bring it on, dude, bring it on." And I loved it. I love the attitude. Bring it on, dude, bring it on. So we've come to the end, and continue to look for good evidence. Continue to have faith. Per Mr. Rogers, be somebody else's good evidence. I passed by a homeless person the other day that had a huge sign, "I just need some kindness." And I stopped and I gave him some money. You don't have to give money. You can just be kind and smile at people and give somebody the right of way or open a door. Or they have one thing. Go ahead of me. Give a compliment. So that's my recommendation. And I will be back. As I always say, make peace, make memories. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.